What's up, everyone? How are we? It's good to be back for another live session tonight. Yes, my voice is a little bit a little bit suboptimal. For some reason, for whatever reason, I'm like husky as anything. And to be honest, it's not that bad. I actually think it's kind of sexy. Hey, Chance, how are you, brother? Yeah, so that's why I'm sounding a little bit different to the usual. We've also had a change in scenery. I'm over at my female's place, so I've just been hanging out with Sarah because she offered to cook me dinner, and so I was like, fuck yes, I'm onto that. So yeah, that's why it's a little bit different today. But anyway, what we're going to be getting into tonight is one of my favourites, like ever, and that's carb backloading. I'm a massive fan of carb backloading. In fact, I got asked I think it was just today over Instagram about a bloke who was speaking with his coach about carb backloading and why I believe in it and all that stuff. And yeah, there's so many reasons why I have why I'm such an advocate for carb backloading. One of them because I can eat copious amounts of rice at night. And yes, Tori, I probably will be hitting about a kilo of rice tonight because it's amazing. So I'm like happily just sit back there and chow through it. But yeah, pretty much so what we're going to do is tonight we're going to cover, what carb backloading is, what it does, its effects on fat loss, its effects on sleep and performance, all that sort of stuff. So as always, if I'm going through this and there's something you're like, fuck James, you kind of, skimmed a little bit here, can you just go in a little bit more detail? Just let me know, just comment it below. I can see your comments come up as they go through. So comment whatever you like, and even if it's not relating to carb backloading, put it in there and we'll just go through it at the end and yeah, cover absolutely everything that you guys want to go through. I've already got like 5 cracker questions too from other guys during the week and whatnot, and geez, there'll probably be more when I check out the Shred community. Speaking of which, I should give you the link for the Shred community as well, which I'm just going to put up now, and I'll pin it to the top. So if you want to get more involved with us, if you want to ask more questions, get more answers, all that stuff, meet the JCF team and everyone involved, pretty much what you can do is you just join this community. My boy Joel will say hello to you, help you out, see if you need a hand with anything, and yeah, help you get more shredded. Right, so I just put that comment up there now, and you'll see it. So anyway, first things first, can someone actually tell me you can actually understand me? Because I know I sound super sexy right now, but I know how well you can actually hear. So can someone let me know right now if you can hear me? Alright. Yeah, no? Yeah. Do you reckon they're going to be able to hear me? Babe?
Are you live?
Yeah, I'm live.
Hi.
Someone can hear me? Yes, everyone's got me.
Oh.
Legends. Alright, let's get into it then. Crack it off. So first of all, carb backloading. Anyone who has trained with me will know exactly what carb backloading is, and because you've gone, you've been doing my plans, and that's where I start everyone all the time, carb backloading. And so why carb backloading and look, actually, let's start with what it is. So carb backloading is when you have you eat all your carbs towards the end of the day. So through the start of the day, what you do is you mostly stick with meat and fats and veggies and all that sort of thing, and then right at the end of the day, after you've trained, just before bed, you then go bang, you smash a whole heap of rice, a whole heap of carbs, whatever it is. So many of you who have watched my my stuff, hang on a sec, what's up?
Can you tell me if this is off?
Oh, fucking grub. Alright, this is what I gotta deal with. It smells a bit funky, babe.
I think it's okay, but no? Didn't.
Fuck, give it to Oscar, give it to Cat.
No.
Anyway, sorry about that. Things I gotta do. So you just go, right, anyone who's followed me or is involved in any of my videos on the Shred community, you'll know that I like pound down the rice. You would have seen me push down like a kilo of rice before bed. And so yeah, when you have all these carbs at once before bed, the best thing is that you get the best sleep in the world, okay? So by shifting all your carbs from the daytime actually right through to the night, you can not only get a much better sleep, you're also actually going to be more compliant with your diet. So you're way better with your diet because you know right at the end of the day there's this big fat reward of carbs waiting for you. You know, you can smash your rice, have some berries on it, or rice malt syrup, maple syrup, all that stuff, and you know it's right there at the end of the day, and you're just waiting for it, you're hanging out for it. So it's really good for increasing your compliance with a training program or a nutrition program. And then on top of that too, you actually function a shitload better. So your brain function goes through the roof when you're carb backloading. And the reason why it does that is because a lot of people, as soon as they get carbs in, they get a mass release of GABA and serotonin, okay? And now GABA and serotonin, it's when you have a whole heap of these and for whatever reason in combination with the release of glucose and insulin, it actually can make a lot of people really sleepy. So when you have all these carbs, you get this huge release of these neurotransmitters which calm you down, bring you down, relax you, then you're not functioning as well throughout the day as what you would have otherwise, okay? So there's some big reasons for it. The other thing too is that with the when you do increase your sleep and improve your sleep with the carbs, not only do you get to sleep easier because I don't know how many of you guys have had a food coma where you just literally can't keep yourself awake, but you also sleep right the way through. And then in conjunction with that too, it actually seems to reduce the amount that you get up to go to the toilet at night because carbs, having a high amount of carbs actually has an effect on increasing sodium retention. And when you have more sodium, that means you piss less because your body needs to maintain the balance of water to sodium. It's called osmolarity. And it keeps everything in check. So it's really good for that. So it increases your sleep by making you go to sleep, keeping you asleep, and stopping you from going up to piss as much as what you normally would. Okay. As for the cognitive effects, yes, we've covered that. The other thing I find too is that when I train after I've had carbs, I find that my sessions are somewhat poorer. I'm not quite as switched on, I'm not quite as alert. And now this I put down to a couple of things. I was talking with a bloke called James Raftos a couple of years back, really smart guy who's been like an industry legend in Sydney for years. And he was saying that it is when you are fed and you're completely fed, you lose that fight or flight drive, okay? So if you're smashing carbs all day and smashing thousands of calories, you lose that fight or flight drive. Now, my boys who are on 7,000 calories or so, they'll all attest to this. I mean, Jared Robertson, if you're here right now, you'll say straight away that when you're eating that many calories, you actually feel sluggish all the time. You feel sluggish, lethargic, a bit lazy. All that because you're eating so much food all the time because you can't physically carb backload 7,000 calories when you're eating 600, 700, 800 grams of carbs a day. And so, yeah, so you kind of lose that drive to train hard and to push hard. So by just having fats and proteins, you seem, for whatever reason, to be more alert throughout the whole day. And so when you go and you hit your training session, you absolutely smash it. You do really well. Now, on the downside to this is that I noticed that by having carbs earlier in the day, I actually got better pumps for my workouts. So when I was smashing carbs about 2 to 4 hours before my training, I would get a much better pump than what I would if I was carb backloading, okay? So make what you like of that. If you're going for fat loss, improved muscle gain, and better gut health, I 100% recommend having carbs during the day. Having carbs at night and then waiting for later on the day. If you just want to get a sick pump, you want to go for cell swelling, and you just specifically want to go for muscle gain, just for muscle gain, 100%. Try having some carbs in through the middle of the day. But what I will say is that for me, and I guess people who look like me, have got similar genetics to me, similar body types to me, you will stay much leaner and you'll grow muscle a fair bit faster by carb backloading. That's what I notice all the time. There's no science to this. And now, speaking on the science of fat loss and carb backloading, science actually goes against carb backloading. Science will actually say that there's no difference between carb backloading and eating any other which way on your results or your gains or anything, okay? So science says that's not it. Now in science, they study just regular people doing regular exercise regimes, not the screwed up ones which all my guys will be doing with me. And the problem with this is that if you're doing like my workouts, perhaps it might have a small effect in having the carbs post-workout. And the reason why it was initially postulated that carb backloading would be better is because after a workout, you've actually depleted a lot of your glycogen. And so theoretically, you are more insulin sensitive. And it says in the science that this isn't true, but that's just what's been what's been put up and postulated and suggested. But yeah, so I noticed that in my guys who do carb backload, they actually do lose fat a fair bit faster initially, or most people do. Okay, and they initially have a very substantial rate of fat loss. Just with literally just changing the carb backloading. In fact, we actually increase most people's calories most of the times when they train with us. Increase their calories dramatically, and the big thing we change is the carb backloading, fixing your gut health. And that's the other awesome thing about carb backloading, is that it does fix your gut health. It does actually improve your gut microbiome. It does make you healthier. It does make you function a lot better, because when you give your body a whole heap of those carbs, number one, it takes so long to bloody eat all the things that half your carbs go cold. And when your carbs go cold, when they're heated and then cooled, excuse me, when they're heated then cooled, they actually increase this thing called resistant starch. What resistant starch is this is like a starch which cannot get, it doesn't get broken down by your gut, and you don't actually absorb it, but your bacteria do. And when you feed them this resistant starch, you actually increase your caloric expenditure, so you burn more calories without doing anything, just by eating colder food, and then you make your gut microbiome much healthier, much more robust. And when you do this, you actually improve your insulin sensitivity, because your body's response to insulin is actually regulated via the gut. So two big drugs, metformin and berberine, they actually have their effect on insulin and help diabetics become not diabetics via the gut microbiome. So you can do the same thing or a similar thing via just feeding your gut with a bit of resistant starch. Okay. On top of this too, because you don't actually get the calories yourself, that means that you're actually eating less calories while putting the same food into your mouth, which is pretty cool. Really quite cool. On top of this too, at night is when the gut does most of its healing, or allegedly anyway. So what I get all my guys to do is as I also get them to take fiber just before bed, but by having the carbs in the fiber, you're actually getting more of a fiber boost right before bed, right when you need it, just when your gut is about to rest and digest and all that jazz. So they're the main reasons for carb backloading. And carb backloading is just awesome. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm such a massive fan of it. I do it literally all the time. The thing that a lot of people get confused with is they say, well, aren't I meant to have, carbs like pre-workout for energy? You don't actually need carbs for energy pre-workout. It's not like you just eat carbs and then, the energy fucks off like 30 minutes later. It's still going to be there. When you eat your carbs, your body stores it. If you're healthy, you're one of my guys, and you're training smart, and you're dieting well, you store those carbs as glycogen in muscle, okay? And it just holds it there. You get in a bit of carbs, and you get a bit of glycogen, you get a bit of water, and it holds it in the muscle. That's why you look much fuller when you've got carbs. And so you're not just going to deplete that. All right. The other thing too is that you're going to store it as fat too, and you can utilize your fat for energy. So it's not like you're ever going to be low on energy. You will never be low on energy just because you have your carbs at the end of the day. All right. It's just not going to happen like that. You will have glycogen and carbohydrates available in your body to be used at any time which you need. Okay. You don't need to constantly be feasting on carbs. One of the big reasons that we are so unhealthy as a species is just that we gorge on carbs all the time. Like all the time, constantly nomming on those things. And yeah, I know they're nice, and yeah, I know you feel good. I mean, that's what they're designed to do. We're designed to make carbs like feel good to us, because originally they were scarce. Like back in the day, they were scarce. But now that they're so readily accessible, it's not good for you whatsoever. They cause a whole heap of issues. I mean, if we go all sciencey and we start, if I want to start waving my dick around and start speaking big words and, say how much I know. If we want to start dropping words like mitochondria, you look at the mitochondria and you see when you actually eat carbs and you have too many of them and your mitochondria aren't functioning too well, they actually cause this stuff called oxidative stress, which is like the big driver of inflammation. So it's like damage in your body. So these mitochondria, these little like cell-like organ type things, they like spit out this stress into your body, and it damages everything around it, okay? And when you do that, your body's not going to be happy. You're going to become less insulin sensitive. You're going to be less anabolic. You're going to get a poorer hormone profile. You'll start getting gut distress. Like your cortisol's going to go through the roof, all that sort of thing. So carbs are not something to be gorged on. Carbs are something to be used, and that's where backloading is so good, because you get to smash all your carbs at night before bed. It's very satisfying, very tasty, and it's really, really good for your gains, okay? So on that note, if you have any questions, just like Paul's asked one here, just ask them. So Paul's asked, do you have any carbs, low or high GI? I actually really don't care about the GI too much. I mean, immediately post-workout, or even pre and intro if you like, I actually recommend higher GI carbs because they're easy to digest. There's a massive advantage to having high GI carbs in that if before you have a workout, you have some complex carbs, they sit in your stomach. And remember, when we go train, if you're training hard, you go into fight or flight and the blood goes away from your stomach. So all it ends up is you get this feeling of having all this food just sitting here, just in your stomach, really heavy, really, really deep. And that's what makes you vomit, okay? But if you have high GI carbs, they're bang, in and out, really super quick, don't give you any bloating, nothing. Well, they shouldn't give you bloating unless you got something like candida or some other bacterial or yeast overgrowth or imbalance within your system. As for the rest of the night, look, I generally advise having complex carbs because they keep you more full. But if you're eating 5, 6, 7,000 calories a day, then yeah, get some high GI stuff in because it's much easier to eat. I get a lot of my team to use gummy bears. So they all get gummy bears post-workout. One, because gummy bears are fucking amazing. Number 2, they got gelatin in them, which is always good for the gut. And number 3, it gives you like a reward post-workout and very easily digested. So yeah, so that's what I do, man. It really doesn't matter. In the end of the day, if you have a bit of a balance. If you're on lower calories, go for lower GI foods. If you're on higher calories, go for a mix of high and low, okay? Just be sensible about it too. Because remember, anything that you put into your body which irritates your gut will screw with you. So if you're somebody who can digest sugar really well, you're going to be fine smashing the dextrose, smashing the gummy bears, smashing the high GI carbs. If you're not, if you're someone like me who has a bad reaction to too much sugar all at once, then you can't do it, all right? You'll end up breaking out with rosacea. I get acne, like rosacea stuff here, just underneath my eyes if I get it. You know, some people get flaky elbows, sore joints, that sort of stuff. So yeah, really avoid, doing anything which upsets your gut or gives you like an inflammatory response. Now, Cam's just asked, good question, brother. What happens if you train in the morning? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it does not matter at all. If you train in the morning and then eat all your carbs at the end of the day, you're still going to replenish your glycogen. That's it. If you train in the morning, you're still going to eat food afterwards. You're still going to get your protein in. You're still going to be taking your BCAAs, your EAAs. So there's no real worry for training in the morning at all. Some people will say they feel sluggish. The people who are less fat adapted, so people who can't run off fat for fuel and are generally not as lean and athletic, will struggle by not having carbs immediately after they've trained. However, those of you who have become more fat adapted and are more metabolically flexible, so we call it, you'll fare better. And I guess I should explain that. So guys, when we think of fuel and energy, right, there are 3 sources. So there's number 1, carbs, number 2, fat, number 3, protein. So yes, your muscles are an energy source primarily. What we do, if we have lived our whole lives gorging on carbohydrates 5, 6 times a day and we're just constantly grazing on them, then yes, we're going to not burn fat for fuel efficiently, okay? If we just use it, if we're only good at using carbs, then we're not going to be good at anything else. So what I advise all my clients to do, and what I get my clients to do, is I help them become more fat adapted. So carb backloading is one way of this, where they literally just go and don't eat carbs until the end of the day. And the other way is just by reducing your total carbohydrate intake, increasing your fat and protein intake. What you'll notice is when you become more metabolically flexible, you can actually go without eating for longer without having a change in energy. So you should actually be pretty good to eat for not eat for 6 hours or more without any change in brain function or energy or anything like that. All right? So if you're metabolically inflexible, you'll feel like you need to eat like every 3 hours. You'll feel like you constantly need a snack. You'll feel like you get to 3 o'clock and you just bang, crush. Actually, you'll probably feel like you get to about 11, 1 and 3 o'clock, and you'll feel like you'll crash at all of those. And then at night time, you feel like you need more carbs, and then you need to go to sleep straight after those carbs. So that's what it's like if you're metabolically inflexible. The thing I notice between people who are metabolically flexible and metabolically inflexible is that those who are metabolically flexible stay leaner, gain more muscle faster, and are generally healthy. The ones who are inflexible are generally not as healthy, okay? Don't know if there's any science on that. That's all I see just from coaching, a substantial number of people over a substantial number of years. So if you want any more on that as well, just comment below, the lads. All right. Yes, Kyle's just said that he loves the bulk rice maple syrup combo. It's amazing. If you haven't already tried it, make sure you get a big fat bowl of rice and just pour maple syrup over it while you're backloading. It's absolutely amazing. It will change your life. And you can thank me after this. Now, Petey's just asked, can I explain how 5-HTP works? Is it most effective before bed with carbs? 5-HTP is awesome. So it's absolutely fantastic. In this modern day and age where a lot of us are stressed, have anxiety, that sort of thing, we actually deplete our serotonin levels. And 5-HTP is the precursor to serotonin. So by taking this, we actually rebalance our neurotransmitters, makes us feel a whole heap better, makes us function a whole heap better. Now, when we take 5-HTP, it can do a couple of things. It can increase our cognitive function, it can increase our stress response, and it can make us more relaxed. That is why, after a heavy workout, I always get my guys to take either 5-HTP or GABA, depending on what they need. And so when we take the 5-HTP, it actually brings us down and levels us out, takes us out of that fight or flight. The other thing too is that you can take it before bed because it does help you sleep. Now, taking it with carbs, it doesn't really matter because 5-HTP is going to make serotonin and eating carbs is going to make serotonin too. So look, if you want a double whammy, yeah, sure, take them together. But in the end of the day, I think 5-HTP is best used strategically, such as around the workouts or just after the workouts, or even during the day if you're having a very tough time at work, relationships, home, whatever. It's a very, very big help. All right. Hey Jackie, how are ya? The next one, Callum's just asked, can Skittles be eaten in place of a serving of carbs post-training? That is a good question. I don't know what the ingredients are of Skittles, but I'll look it up right now for you, big fella. Skittles ingredients. I generally say gluten-free, and I say always go gluten-free because, as we've discussed in prior videos, gluten is shit. It is straight up poo. It serves no benefit to us whatsoever. There is no good side to gluten. So yeah, what's that, Sarah?
I said it tastes good.
Gluten doesn't taste good. You can get awesome gluten-free donuts. Sarah reckons gluten tastes good. Not worth it. Rightio. Are tropical Skittles vegan? Who cares? Where are they? Alright, I think I've got them here. I'm just finding out. Yeah, look, they actually look like they're gluten-free, so they're going to be fine. Look, if they bloat you, brother, then don't use them. If they don't bloat you, then yeah, I would. Yeah, so if they don't bloat you, you're sweet. If they do bloat you, don't give it a go. At the end of the day, anything with artificial flavors and stuff like that can be a bit iffy because some people react to them, some people don't. All right, don't know why. It's just genetic. But yeah, so yeah, go for it, man. Guys, you can all have Skittles now. So as long as you get 50 grams of carbs, anyone who trains with me, if you have one serve of carbs, just make sure that you get 50 grams of carbs from Skittles if you like. Don't really care. In the end of the day, it's all going to do the same stuff. So great question, Callum. Why not? Enjoy your Skittles. Now, Toby's just said, can you carb backload every day or is this only to be done on a less regular basis? Yeah, man, every day. If you train, if you don't train, whatever. Carb backload whenever you like, man. It's fantastic. It's always great. It's always really good, man. Now, Chance just asked, what are complex and simple carbs? So simple carbs refer to like the straight sugars. So anything with lower amounts of fiber is generally considered a simple carb. Pretty much, that's just general rule of thumb. Anything with higher amounts of fiber is considered a more complex carb. So an example of a simple carb, Chance will be something like the dextrose, the maple syrup, rice malt syrup, anything that's a straight sugar. Anything that's a complex carb is your stuff like rice, your potatoes, your more dense foods like that. Right? So let me know if that makes sense, mate. If not, I'll clarify it more. Now, Jaggie's just said, if I train at 6 a.m., if I was to do this, what time will I start eating my carbs? Eat them at night before you go to bed. That's when you do it. So yeah, that's when you that's when you eat them. When you carb backload, you shift them later. In some instances, I get some of my guys to have them like immediately post-workout, but there are different reasons for that. So yeah, look, really try it, play it around, see what works best for you. If you like them right before bed, then have them right before bed. If you like them immediately post-workout, have them immediately post-workout. It doesn't really matter in the end of the, well, it has a different effect, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. I find a lot more of my guys get much more benefit by having it immediately before bed. Hey Billy, how are ya? Hans has just said, doesn't it matter if I'm naturally? Why would it matter if you're natural or not? Like, yeah. No, it doesn't matter if you're natural, bro. Like, fuck, I don't know how, I've been using that since I was like 18. So yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're natural, Bella, at all. Natural, enhanced. Actually, it probably matters less if you're enhanced. If you're taking steroids, it probably really doesn't matter what time you take your carbs because you've got those things doing most of the work. Now, Tommy's just asked, would you use carb backloading if you want to burn more fat? Yeah, 100%, bro. That was actually one of the things. You must have come in late. I said carb backloading is fantastic for losing fat. So science says that carb backloading is not great. Oh, I got food. Oh, you legend. Look at this. This is why she gets a date. What? This is why I'm dating her. I mean, you're fantastic. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Oh, stoked.
Except there's fats in there.
That's fine. Thank you, babe. Yeah, no, if you want to burn more fat, 100%, man. 100% you carb backload. There is no reason to not carb backload. Science will say that carb backloading does not improve fat loss. I'll say right now I do lose fat faster doing it, and I've noticed it and I've tried it. In fact, 1 week we tried went from carb backloading, right? Took my pinch test. The next week I did non-carb backloading and mixed some fats in there and stuff like that. And according to the pinch test, I actually gained fat mass and didn't gain any muscle mass at all. So I actually gained fat while on the same calories, okay, over a period of 2 weeks. And there were no other variables in that really. So yeah, carb backloading for fat loss is great. I also noticed that, yeah, I just stay a whole lot leaner. And all my guys who come and start training with me, there are several variables in that, but they all seem to lose fat really, really well in carb backloading. Now, Sean said, isn't an insulin spike desirable post-heavy resistance training, particularly if you can only replenish glycogen at a pretty sluggish rate, all things considered? Yeah, man, look, that's a really hot, was like a couple of years ago, a really hot area of debate. So there was originally the camp of like the carb backloaders who back in the day would say you have your carbs immediately post-workout. And then there was the IFYM people that came through. Now, I don't agree with them, but they came in and they said, they were like, oh, the insulin spike is so small that it doesn't matter, and it doesn't have any measurable effect at all. So yeah, I don't know, man, to be perfectly honest with you, trial it for yourself. I can tell you right now, for me, it doesn't matter. Like, I just have my carbs immediately before bed all the time, and I grow really well. For other people, maybe they feel that they grow a little bit faster post-workout. At the end of the day, the only thing that you can really do is you can actually measure it. So if you just measure yourself and trial both ways, see what works better, that's the best thing that you can do, man. I'm sure that there's going to be a slight difference in there somewhere, one way or the other. Don't know which way that's going to be, but yeah, there will be a difference in there. I dare say anyway, maybe. Chris Nelson said, running a cycle on Anavar separately or with test. Not really my area. I'm sure they're both going to do a lot, man. Look, in the end of the day, if you run any sort of anabolic steroid, man, you're going to get gains. And if you're not getting gains and not getting sick gains, then you need to take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror. I had a friend once, it was about 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago, is training at the same gym as me at the time, and he did his first cycle of Anavar only. And he was running, I think it was like 30 or 40 or 50 megs a day, and he gained 6 kilos lean over an 8-week cycle. So yeah, man, Anavar is a very powerful drug, even though a lot of people say that it's not. If you run them together, then fuck, you should get more effects, surely. But you got to make sure that the dose is right, because remember, if you're using a whole heap of it, a whole shitload of it, then you actually waste your androgen receptors. Well, you can, that's one theory. So yeah, just make sure that you dose it smart, man. I'd say better than anything is go for a lower dose, dude. Always stick to a lower dose of everything. Because remember, while you are making yourself anabolic by injecting exogenous androgens into your body, so you're injecting exogenous test and DHT, DHT-like stuff, you're also causing a lot of stress for it to adapt to as well. So if you outweigh the stress, then if you're putting in too much stress on your body, you're not going to go well. That's why a lot of genetics come down. A lot of bodybuilding comes down to the genetics. Because if you can't deal with that inflammation and you can't resolve that inflammation from the exogenous test and whatnot, you're not going to get optimal results. Now, Hagob's just said, I hope that helped, by the way, Chris. If you need a hand, I'll refer you to somebody who is more intelligent in that area than I am. Now, Hagob said, hey mate, sorry for asking this again, but I forgot the process. Do you recommend a huge load of carbs before sleeping the night before so you can get a massive pump of the workout next day at the daytime? Yeah, man, 100% it works like that. So if you ever have a large amount of carbs at all at any time of the day, you're going to get a big pump in your next workout. It just always happens, okay? So yeah, man, smash a big lot of carbs before bed, get an awesome sleep, and then yeah, how about hit your workout the next day? Ashley just asked, just an off-topic carb backloading question. Is it necessary to be taking glutamine and creatine in the off-season as our bodies create it naturally? I've been told I shouldn't rely on it as it might stuff my natural production. Ashley, first things first, who told you that it might stuff your natural production? Because they need to take a good hard look at themselves, because that's the most fucking stupid thing that I've ever heard. I'm sorry if there was someone close to you, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's one thing I preach, and it's honesty. And I'll be honest, and I'll be brutally honest, and I'll rip on anybody who says things that are very, very silly like that. Straight up, this is delicious. Straight up, if anybody thinks that taking glutamine is going to stop your glutamine production, deserves a strong, I want to say something without being violent, but it just deserves a strong headbutt. A really strong headbutt or something like that, because that's just silly. No, it will not. Taking glutamine and creatine is not going to shut you down. They're not steroids. They're not going to mess with you at all, okay? So no, don't worry about that. I don't know why that made me angry, but that kind of made me angry. Not you, Ashley, the person who told you that, because that's just silly. Ashley, you can take as much creatine and glutamine as you like and you'll be fine. If you have any other questions like that, feel free to let me know so I can help you out, because you shouldn't have to put up with silly stuff like that. It's not helpful for you whatsoever. So guys, yeah, no. None of that stuff is going to affect you negatively. With all my guys, I get everyone who trains with me to take like 5 grams minimum of creatine all year round. Creatine is effing amazing. No, it doesn't make you hold water. Creatine is stored in the muscle, so it'll actually make your muscles store more water, which will make your muscles look bigger, which will actually make you look leaner at the same time. So no, don't worry about that. As with glutamine too, look, I'm not the hugest fan of glutamine. I just don't recommend taking like glutamine for all people. Some people who've got like a glutamate deficiency, which is like a neurotransmitter, are you not thinking quite right, and you're perhaps a little bit low in GABA, yeah, you can smash a bit of glutamine. That's good for you. It's good for healing your intestinal lining, but I've never seen that many huge that much of a huge difference with taking glutamine. I was taking like 40 grams of glutamine a day there for a bit when my gut was bad, and that was one of the protocols I was using. Yeah, it was kind of effective for a few people with advanced like gut illnesses and like really hectic leaky gut, but it didn't fix the problem. So yeah, look, it's got its place, glutamine, but I'm not the hugest fan of it. Oh, and one thing too, glutamine does not build muscle. All right, just plain and simple, does not build muscle. Back in the day, people were always saying about how glutamine's really, really anabolic and good for muscle building. It's not. It doesn't do shit. It doesn't do anything. So Charlie's just asked, what's in the salad? Babe, what's in the salad? Sarah. I'll find out for you, man. That's amazing. I don't know what dressing she's got on it, but she's got mushrooms, strawberries, tomatoes, walnuts, macadamias, cucumbers, chicken, what else? Everything. She's absolutely nailed it. She's a very good girlfriend, this one. She's almost lasted 4 years. I've almost lasted 4 years. I think that's more impressive. She's kept me around for 4 years. I've done pretty well. Now, Brent has just asked, what do you recommend first if starting bodybuilding? What do you mean, what do I recommend? I recommend lifting a lot of weights very, very heavily, eating, and finding a partner who makes you salad. So yeah, they're my tips. Do you want anything more specific than that, Brent? Because yeah, I'll help you out. That's just kind of a broad question, but they're the three top tips. Josh has just asked, I'm eating brown rice and chicken for dinner. Good for gains or nah? Like, yeah, but it kind of sounds pretty shit, man. Like, do you actually enjoy eating that? You don't need to like have it. You don't need to have like brown rice and chicken. You can have heaps of other stuff. A lot of bodybuilders get pushed into the misconception that you need to eat chicken and rice and chicken and broccoli, and it needs to be brown rice. Like, fuck that, man. Like, I love my rice. I love like eating white rice. There's nothing more in the world that I like than white rice. I froth it. That's just me. Most people don't like that. I hate chicken. Well, most chicken, unless my girlfriend cooks it for me, because she's awesome. But yeah, most of the time, like, I hate chicken and refuse to eat chicken. Excuse my bad manners. But yeah, so man, it's good. Yeah, sure, the macronutrients are going to be great. The micronutrients are also going to be good. Sure, it's going to be lowly inflammatory, unless you're eating it 5 times a day. There's a lot of bodybuilders that come up to me and they're like, James, you know, fuck, I'm doing this and this and this, but I'm getting acne and like I'm getting getting acne, rosacea, sore joints. My gut's bad. I'm not doing too well at all. I'm not making gains. Putting on fat, you know, feeling like absolute crap. I'm like, oh, what are you eating? I'm like, man, my diet's really good. I'm eating like chicken and broccoli and rice every day. I'm like, brah, who told you to do that? That is the worst idea in the world. The reason why it's the worst idea in the world is because when you start eating a lot of the same foods all the time, like all day, every single day, a lot of people actually develop an immune response to this. And when you develop an immune response, it starts playing around with your gut because it gets all inflamed and it's all nasty in there. And then through the whole body, you start getting inflammation. Then what happens is your cortisol goes through the roof, your testosterone goes down. I think that sounds familiar, doesn't it? And then you throw out of whack all your neurotransmitters, your gut goes to shit, and everything is crap. So yeah, I wouldn't advise eating chicken and broccoli all day, every day. It's terrible. Yeah, Brent has just asked. I was a wrestler through college and feel like I have some advantage if I were to begin bodybuilding. Does being a wrestler give me a good start? Depends if you're big, bro. Bodybuilding is all about gaining muscle and losing fat. Are you big? Are you lean? Like, if so, then yeah. 100%, man. Like, yeah, you'll be good for bodybuilding. But, yeah. At the end of the day, it really all comes down to how good your muscle is and how lean you were. I was pretty lucky with bodybuilding because I was always a skinny kid. So, I was always little. And so, when I started training and eating a shitload, then I just started to grow and I always stayed quite lean. And then, I mean, on top of that too, in fact, put in the fact that, like, I was always super active. So when I was young, I was not allowed inside. So my parents, I'd come home from primary school, and I'd get home, and my mum would be like, all right, have something to drink, have something to eat, now piss off, go out and play in the paddocks, because I lived on a farm. And so I wasn't allowed in until it was dark every day. And so because of that, I was always leaner, I was always healthy, and always a little bit bigger than all the other kids. And so that gave me a big start. Then I went to school. I went to boarding school, so I like lived on campus at school, and literally the only thing I did all day, every day, was play sport. So I'd get up in the morning, I'd go eat, I'd go to school, then I'd have recess, like break, and then I'd go play sport. And then I'd go back to school and then have lunch, and I'd eat, and then I'd go play sport. And then after lunch, I'd go back to school, have a couple of hours of school, then I'd go play sport again. And then I'd go back to dinner, and then after dinner, I'd go play sport again. So I literally spent my whole day playing sport, every single sport that I could, and which helped me stay lean, helped me stay healthy, and made my body function a whole heap better. Would have been better if I actually knew how to diet at the time, but alas, what can you do? And yeah, and so that's what gave me a head start. So yeah, man, if you're lean and you're big, then yes, you're going to be doing well in bodybuilding. You just need to get leaner, bigger. Make sure you got good delts, and then you're going to be laughing. Good delts and a small waist. Right? Hey, Will, how are you, brother? Now, Mark just said, if you've jumped to 4K calories, is it okay to implement a mass gainer to assist as long as you don't get the bloating feeling on it? Yeah, man, like, sure. I rip on mass gainers because they're overpriced and they're a waste of money, right? Overpriced, waste of money, often filled with a whole heap of shit. So what they do is they get the whey protein, they get the cheapest whey protein, they often cut it with other stuff like soy protein and shit like that that's really cheap. Throw in a bit of dextrose, a multidextrin, some other carb blend that doesn't really do anything. Throw in some fat sources, and then, yeah, it's just, they sell it to you as a mass gainer. Now, the thing with that is they sell it for the same price as the whey, or slightly cheaper, just ever so slightly cheaper. So you're getting actually massively ripped off, like massively. Because rather than paying $30 a kilo for the whey, and then $3 a kilo for the dextrose, and then another $5 a kilo for the MCT oil, you're paying like $30 for the whole thing altogether. So you're getting massively marked up on the dextrose and the MCT oil. And guess what's the largest part of the whey is? It's the dextrose and the MCT oil, because it's cheaper, so they stuff more up with it. So yeah, I would not advise it at all, man. Just go down. Well, look, if you've got the money for it and you don't care about wasting your money, I hate the idea of ever being ripped off, so I just refuse to buy it. But if you don't mind, then yeah, buy it, sure, go for it. But otherwise, I just recommend, mate, just get some cheap whey protein or get some essential amino acids, mix it in with some dextrose post-workout, and yeah, that's it. Getting up to 4K calories would be easy. But man, you should be able to eat 5K pretty easy. I mean, like, how heavy are you, big fella? Mark, are you over 90 kilos yet? My laptop's died. Yeah, 92 kilos. Mark, mate, you should be easy necking down 5,000. I can do 4.5 pretty easy in a day. So you should 100% be able to do 5,000 calories or so. Just stay lean, brother, and it's all going to be smooth sailing. Mm-hmm. Now, next question I got, a really cool one, was, can you eat too many veggies? Now, I tell my guys, everyone who trains with me, I'm like, if you're ever hungry, eat more veggies. You can have up to half a kilo of veggies per meal, which equates to 2.5 kilos of veggies a day. So clearly I'm a big fan of veggies, and evidently here. Now, the thing with veggies, right, is that they're high in fiber. So what the real question comes back to is, it's not about the veggies, it's about the fiber in the veggies. So if you are having too much fiber, you'll actually bloat more. So the biggest problem amongst healthy people is that we actually have too much fiber for what we've got, what we can take. Now, there are several reasons why this occurs. And let's go balls deep into this. So we're going back into some more gut stuff. When your gut gets tight, when you're stressed and you're in that fight or flight mode, okay, clenches up like this, what fiber does is it goes into the digestive tract and it adds bulk and it draws water in. So you get your fiber, you eat it, and then it's generally going to be a mixture of soluble and insoluble at the same time. So you're going to get it in, and it's going to bring the water into the digestive tract, and then some of it's going to expand out really hard. Now, if your digestive system's tight, if you're anxious, if you've got anxiety, depression, nervousness, jitteriness, you drink a lot of coffee, you don't sleep particularly well, anything like that, it's going to mean that when you have more fiber, it actually makes your digestive system worse, okay? So you've got to be really careful of that, really careful of that, okay? So if that's you. However, on the other hand, if you're healthy if you're happy, you're feeling awesome, you've got no nervousness, depression, anxiety, anything like that, you can smash the veggies till the cows come home. You can eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, and it will never have a bad effect on you, okay? Unless you get gassiness or constipation, diarrhea, anything like that from it, okay? So that's my answer to that one. Is it, can you eat too many veggies? Well, it depends. So you need to know, are you an anxious person or anything like that? Anxious, depressed, anything like that? Are your neurotransmitters a little bit out of whack? If they're out of whack, you're not going to have a good time with fiber. That doesn't mean that fiber is a problem. It means that your neurotransmitters are out of whack and you can't take the fiber right now. So what your main primary goal should be to fix the neurotransmitters through supplementation, then reintroduce the fiber, which in turn will fix your gut, help your gut work better, and then replenish your neurotransmitters, okay? If you're in the good camp where you're absolutely nailing it, then yes, you can eat the veggies and the fiber until the cows come home. When I was prepping for a show in October 2015, when I looked the best out of it I've ever looked, I was eating 500 to a kilo of veggies every single meal, and I was having 5 meals a day. So do the maths on that, is a fair bit. I was cooking up fat pastas, like with, well, not pasta, I didn't have pasta, I had like cognac noodles. And like shit, I had honestly heaps and heaps and heaps of food. Somebody worked it out that I had 1,600 calories of veggies. And now, funnily enough, this person was trying to pay me out and say, you're an idiot because you're eating 1,600 calories from veggies, like you're never going to get lean. And then I placed second in my pro debut and got 4 Olympia qualification points straight off the bat. So eat shit. But anyway, yeah, no, that was the best that I ever looked by far. My stress was an all-time low. Well, it wasn't an all-time low, but I was sleeping very, very well. I was in a very relaxed environment. I was just studying and working and training, and everything was in a really good rhythm, and I wasn't overworking myself. Then on the other hand, when I then did start overworking myself and wasn't sleeping enough, it all went to shit, and I couldn't eat anywhere near as many veggies. All right? Now, Jacinta's just asked, what's my number one recommended supplement for sleep? That'd be the Ronnie Colin Resurrect, except it's out of stock in Australia at the moment. Failing that, probably the next best would be probably 5-HTP or magnesium. Magnesium's pretty amazing, so I'll go with magnesium this time. It always changes because they're all epic. Magnesium's really, really good for your sleep. Absolutely fantastic. You'll sleep better, you'll feel better, you'll think better, you'll recover better. You won't get cramps or stiffness or anything like that. So I go magnesium there, Jacinta. Amino acid chelate, by the way. Do not get magnesium oxide or magnesium citrate because when you take it, it works as a laxative. So you take it, and you think you're about to go to sleep, and then you wake up in a couple of hours' time, and you're like, cool. And you got to run to the toilet, and you got to think, geez, that was a close call, because it hits you like that, all right? And it just goes straight through you. So don't take magnesium oxide or citrate before sleep. And they're what's in most of the cheaper magnesiums. Now, Will's just said Valium's also good for sleep. Yes, Valium is very good sleep. But, fun fact, if you actually take phenibut, it works on the same receptor, and it's not going to have anywhere near the number of negative side effects as what Valium would. So go for phenibut over Valium any day. In fact, I've actually noticed that you can get similar Valium-like effects by high dosing GABA. By taking like a shitload of GABA, then you can actually get Valium-like effects. So fun fact. Next minute, everybody in here is going to go bulk buying GABA. All right, Adrian. Hey bro, I hope all is well. Quick one, I'm 100 kilos, want to drop down to about 90. What calorie intake would you recommend with an active day-to-day basis? Cheers. Bruh, for you, like, I don't know, mate, you can go from anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 calories, a big window. It depends on a whole heap of factors, man. Like how lean you are. I mean, what's an active day-to-day basis? I don't know what that is, like what you actually describe as active. Some people say that they sit in an office, all day and walk around for about an hour of the day. They call that active. Some people are out and about on their feet all day and they say they're moderately active. I don't know. Anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000. Geez, some people can get away with 3,500 at that level. Really depends, man, on how much exercise you want to do and all that. So, general answer, I'm sorry, but I don't want to give specific advice and give it in a shit way, right? If you want to get lean, just comment below. My boy Joel will get in touch with you, and then you can chat with him about that because he helps out with all you guys. Yeah, and by the way, dudes, if you ever do just want a hand with something, I actually have one of my team members who goes around and literally just helps you out with stuff. His name's Joel. He's an absolute legend, just loves lifting and he's shredded as anything. So it's a good one to pick his brains. Now, next is Nick. Thoughts on Clen? Nope. Not a fan of Clen, whatever, whatsoever, at all. Will not take it, refuse to take it. It is not good stuff at all. None of my guys will take it either. I do not think Clen is a wise thing to have. Now, the reason for this is that, number one, I know a lot of blokes have used Clen, like a whole heap of guys have used Clen. And what's the one common thing they all say? Quote, the anxiety is fucked, all right? So everyone who takes Clen literally gets anxiety, literally every single one. Now, what happens when you get anxiety? Boom, your stress hormones go through the roof. What else happens? Boom, your gut function goes to absolute shit. So you completely lose that and it stops working. And then all the good effects of Clen, like in increased energy expenditure and activation of the beta adrenoceptors, it's all wasted because you've literally just been super counterproductive. I have known people to go on Clen and then actually gain fat, even while they're in a calorie deficit. So if you take Clen, right, and you're stressed and you stress the fuck out of yourself, and then you stop eating as much, and then you exercise more, and you put all this stress onto you, then bang, it just goes back in the opposite direction. You get watery, you get a gut illness, and then you get fat, all right? And that's how it goes, and it's not fun ever, so I'm not a fan of Clen. Look, I'm sure theoretically, if you had a stress-free lifestyle, and you had no psychological stress, no emotional stress, you just had the physical stress, food stress, and then the stress of the Clen, then you'd be okay, but I don't know anybody who's got that. So that's my answer, mate. Yeah. Jacinta started taking HCL a few weeks ago and have noticed a great difference. Keep up the awesome content. I'm glad the HCL helped, Jacinta. So guys, for those of you who haven't seen some of my earlier posts, I talk a lot about beta and HCL, and what it is hydrochloric acid. That's the acid in your stomach. And when you have this acid in your stomach, what it does is it breaks down food, and it helps it helps for your intestines to eat the food up, to absorb all the food in. And so if you're low in HCL, which a lot of people who are stressed are, you actually start getting, that's where your gut illnesses start from the stomach, from not having enough of it. By taking the HCL, you prevent that, you mitigate it, and you actually feel a whole heap better. At the same time, if you're getting like inflammation throughout your body, if you're getting puffiness in areas like your face and whatnot, getting acne, any sort of inflammatory response, often actually starts from low stomach acid. So if you take more stomach acid, it reduces this stuff called histamine, because that's where a large amount of it is produced and is regulated. Take the HCL, drops the histamine levels down, and you feel a whole heap better. You'll notice within a day or so. Now, Lindsay just said, or I just asked, I'm currently 2 weeks out of my comp. Any advice on how to really dry out and get that dense, dry, grainy look? Number one is to reduce anything that's causing you inflammation. Number two, nail your gut health. Number three, drink plenty of water. Number four would be if you're 2 weeks out, then try perhaps doing just honestly minimize anything that gives you any sort of gut distension or anything like that. Okay, if you do that, you're gonna be streets ahead of everyone else, man. And if you can do that, you will be dry as anything. Remember also, don't cut water. Some dickheads will tell you to like cut water or reduce water for like 2 weeks before you comp. It doesn't work like that. So people will think that by lowering water, like in the lead up to a comp, you actually dry out, but it doesn't. Water actually has a diuretic effect because it changes the osmolarity. So if you drink more water and you keep your salt level the same, it actually makes you piss out your water so that your water and salt levels are like equal or in balance, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so mate, that's a big thing. Don't cut your water 2 weeks out like a lot of idiots do. Don't cut it 3 days out, don't cut it 2 days out, because there's a hormone which kicks in after about 16 hours or so of having insufficient water, and it makes you hold on to more water. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. Just don't do a traditional water cut like a lot of Muppets would have you do. Now Mark's just asked, how do you get over 5k calories in a day? I find it tough without feeling constantly full and tired. Is there specific foods you'd eat? bro, I just eat a shitload of butter, a heap of nuts, a heap of red meat. I eat eggs in the morning at the moment for this like 2 to 4 week phase. What else? That's probably the easiest things to get in. And then rice. Get on the white rice, mate. Get a really good rice cooker. Kmart, do some awesome ones there. Put it in there, fluff it up, make sure there's plenty of water, and happy days, mate. You can just sit, nom 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 nom, and you know you'll be living the dream. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. The other thing too is rice malt syrup, and rice malt syrup, maple syrup. They're fantastic. Really good. You know. So guys, I got a fair bit more of this salad to chomp through. So if you have any more questions, let me know. Because I'm just going to sit here and eat while I got this food to eat. Now, Willie's just asked, I usually cook on coconut oil. Do you agree it's the best option? Is cooking on butter also acceptable? Yeah, man, any oil. Use it, whatever, who cares, doesn't matter. We're all great. People are also worried about heating up olive oil or heating up butter or whatever. Honestly, it doesn't matter, man, the amount you use. If you're frying the shit, then yeah, of course it's going to matter. Like if you've got like a pan and it's like that thick of butter and you're cooking everything in it, probably going to get a few calories from it. It's probably not going to be that great. Same thing if you're just deep frying in vegetable oil. Yeah, it's probably not going to be that great. But I wouldn't worry about it, man. I don't even count my oil. When I got my pan there, I just chuck my oil in, lubricate the pan enough so it doesn't stick to it because I hate washing up as it is. I don't want to have to bloody scrape the bastard. So yeah, just lubricate it up enough as you need to in order for it to not stick. Nick, low carb versus keto. Completely different, man. Completely different. They both have their benefits and they're both very similar in a lot of ways. With keto, I particularly like that for people with certain gut illnesses and like autoimmune stuff. So I use that very effectively with those two. As for low carb, it depends on your stage. I predominantly have a lower carb diet unless I'm bulking hard like I am now, where I just try and eat a shitload of food. But as for most people, look, at the end of the day, if you have more carbs, you're going to perform better in the gym because that's just what carbs do. So if you are going lower carb, it can be a bit harder. The other thing too is that when you're on keto, it'll actually feel easier than low carb because you're in ketosis. You actually have steady blood sugar levels. Whereas low carb, you're relying on gluconeogenesis, which is breaking down muscle protein for fuel. And that one can be a bit hard. You can feel a bit shit on that. So yeah, it doesn't really matter, man. Yeah. That's probably the best answer. Let me know if I answered that correctly for you or if I just waffled. As in more effective to drop fat. Right. Man, it depends from person to person. Keto versus low carb dieting for dropping fat. It depends from person to person. Yeah, man, look, in the end of the day, as long as you're in like a calorie deficit, I can't believe I'm saying this, but in the end of the day, for most people, some of the time, if you're in a calorie deficit, you are going to drop fat regardless. So you just got to make sure it's a similar calorie deficit. Got to make sure that you're producing enough bile as well in your liver, and your liver's happy. If that's the case, then you probably will drop a bit more fat on keto as you become more fat adapted. So yeah. David, once I get more cash set aside, I'm interested in signing up. Don't worry, bro, you can pay it off weekly if you like. I actually let you guys do that because, yeah, it's I know where you're coming from, so you can pay weekly if you need. But anyway, in the meantime, what are the 3 foods you would avoid? Gluten, dairy, and sometimes corn, depending how you react to it. The 3 big ones. The reason for that is they're the 3 highest allergens. Gluten is shit. You guys know I already rip on it. Dairy is no good either because lactose sets a lot of people's guts off, and then the casein in it irritates your digestive lining. And then corn's just the 3rd highest allergen in the world. Actually, you know what? Scrap corn. Soy. Soy is the devil. Soy is shit. Never touch soy. It's evil. Increases your estrogen. You know, has a whole heap of negative effects on your body. It's poorly digested, terrible stuff. Do not eat soy. Soy is rubbish. Alright? Best tips to reduce water retention despite dieting. Good question. I like this one. Guys, water retention is there because there's inflammation, right? Whenever you have inflammation, you get edema. Edema is just like hectic water retention everywhere. It just doesn't go, okay? If you're trying to just get rid of the water retention, you're getting rid of the symptom. What you need to do is go to the root cause. So Cam, what we're going to have to do, brother, is we're going to, next time around, we're going to have to look harder into the root cause of what is causing this water retention for you and this inflammation, all right? Most of the time, it comes from something digestive related. Most of the time, okay? And you've got to nail that on the head. Other than that, sometimes you get stuff in your organs. Some people get bad livers and stuff like that for various reasons, or poor responses to training. There's all those sorts of things. Are you coming in to the video or not? You're eating my food. Don't eat too much. Stealing my food.
That I cooked.
Grub. It's terrible. But anyway, sorry. So inflammation. When you have inflammation, you have water retention. Right? That's how it always happens. Inflammation equals water retention. Try to get rid of the water retention without the inflammation. Then you inevitably end up with worse inflammation. So people start taking diuretics, or they start taking stuff like dandelion extract, and they're not having a good time. You never ever end up having a good time. So it only ruins your gut. So that's a long-winded answer to a very simple question. Is that you just need to fix the inflammation in the first place, and the water retention will go. Right? Next one. Is microwavable basmati rice alright to eat? Yeah, dude, sure. Look, I try and avoid the microwave just in case it has something bad about it, but I don't think there's really terribly much evidence to suggest that it does. Other than that old, story where they say that they watered one plant with normal water, and then the other plant they watered it with water which had been microwaved and then cooled, and they said the other one died. I don't know if that really happened. Yeah, but if that really happened, I don't know. They said it's a story anyway. My girlfriend can't believe it. Monty, yes, that is a meal for a family of 4, and that's why I love my girlfriend, because she looks after me like I'm a family of 4. Jess just asked, is a small amount of red wine really beneficial, and on plan is a small glass okay? Thanks, JC. Pretty sure we already had this conversation, Jess. Yeah, you can have a couple of glasses of red wine a week, like 2 glasses a week. I don't give a shit. That's fine. Guys, actually, particularly girls are more lovers of their red wine in general, from what I know. If you're training, you can have 2 glasses of red wine a week. It's really not going to make a big difference. At the end of the day, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to be happy. You're going to feel good. You're going to diet better. You're going to train better, and it's actually going to reduce your stress levels, because it's one of those things where you sit back and you sip and you're like, life's good. I don't do it. I mean, I don't do it myself, but I don't see any reason why you can't. And I know other people who can. Jess Murphy out at Balmain, I'm pretty sure she let some of her, I'm pretty sure she was having a glass of wine in the lead up to her comps, and she always gets in fantastic condition. So yeah, I don't see any reason why you can't, JM. There's no reason at all, man. Now, Cam just said, would regular blood tests identify what's causing the inflammation? No, if only. So regular blood tests can only identify, well, actually, to some extent they could. Because if you get the FBC, if you get your full blood count done, then you would get you get your full liver and thyroid panel, liver and kidney panel. That might tell you something. There's something if in your red blood cell. Yeah, good question, man. Sometimes it will, depends on what it is. If it's coming from your gut, then probably not. The big things to look out for in your bloods is CRP, homocysteine, and then cholesterol to a lesser extent. Cholesterol's pretty good. They're the big 3. So yeah, but with you, man, I think it's more an idea. What we need to do is we need to just go back and look at your history, what you were doing, your last prep and stuff like that, and look at the supplementation, look at your organs, and then check about what the stress could be. Could it be stress from dieting, training excessively heavily, all that sort of stuff. So look into that and then fix anything that's caused it to occur since then. With everything, guys, if you want to fix the inflammation, you fix the root cause. And in order to fix the root cause, you need to look back to when the inflammation started, when you started first getting the symptoms, okay? All right, on that note, my voice is rooted, so I'm going to call it a night. But thank you very much for tuning out, everyone. Really appreciate you all being here. It's nice to pontificate about training and dieting and whatnot with you all. You're all awesome. If you do have any other questions, leave them below. Alright, so my boy Joel goes through this and checks this and makes sure you're doing okay. You don't need a hand with anything, so he'll get in touch if you need anything, and then we can help you out from there. If you need a phone call, whatever, we can sort you out. Alright, but on that note, adios, enjoy your night, and go hook into some rice, because I sure will be. Enjoy.